So we've seen Kamaru Usman make his middleweight debut last weekend against Hamzat Chimaev. He came up short in a very close fight. Could have been a draw in my opinion. It was that close. Hamzat won the first 10-8. The next two rounds could have gone to Usman, but a very close fight. But he indicated that he was going to stay at the weight class. I did make a video talking about him calling out Dricus du Plessis. But thinking about it, probably Dricus du Plessis will fight the winner of Jared Cannonier, Roman Dolidze, or might very well get his deserved title shot that he has earned. It's very possible. For his sake, I do hope Dricus gets his title shot, but I do have my doubts still. But I was thinking about it, and I did briefly mention this in my Dricus du Plessis video, but there's one fight that really just makes perfect sense for both men where they are in their career, both coming off losses, both massive names, both former UFC champions. They were these both of these men were champions at the same time. This could have been a champ fight at one point. And I really do like Kamaru Usman at this middleweight division. He's much more skilled than the middleweights. He's got the wrestling that a lot of these other middleweights won't have. He's just I think he should stay at this weight class. I like it, especially with how much older he's getting. You can be older in the middleweight division and actually get wins together. And I mean, you already know who it is. If you've read the title, you already know who I'm talking about. So no point hyping up anymore. But I think we need to see Kamaru the Nigerian Nightmare versus the Reaper Robert Whittaker. It makes perfect sense to me. Both these guys former welterweights. Obviously, Robert Whittaker much better at middleweight. We've seen him in the middleweight division for a very long time now. Was the UFC middleweight champion at one point. He's fought absolute monsters. Came up short against Dricus du Plessis. But I think this fight just makes perfect sense. It's a good stylistic matchup. We all know Rob's got really good takedown defense. Obviously got taken down by Dricus du Plessis, but Dricus du Plessis is a fucking powerhouse. Like, just look at the guy. You know that guy's strong. So I actually think this would be a really great fight. You could make it a 5 round main event. This would be a really good fight night main event. Maybe you could do a 5 round co-main event on a fight card or something. You know, I think this stylistically would just be a great fight to do. Like, who's going to complain about this fight? This would have been a champ fight in 2019. Like, this is a massive fight. And Robert Whittaker, we all know he can't find an opponent right now. Everybody he wants to fight is, he doesn't really like doing rematches. Robert Whittaker prefers to fight fresh opponents, which I do like that mindset. Fuck rematches. And, all the only fights that are available is like Marvin Vettori rematch. Doesn't make sense. That was his last win. It doesn't make sense for him to rematch Jared Cannonier. Cannonier probably should be on the cusp of a title shot against Dolidze, but I think they're going to do the winner of Dolidze Cannonier versus Dricus, unfortunately. So I think it all works out perfectly fine, if we're being honest, to do Robert Whittaker versus Kamaru Usman. How do I think this fight would go? That is like an interesting question. We all know welterweights are better than middleweights, but both of these guys are former welterweights. Kamaru was the much better welterweight than Robert Whittaker, but Robert Whittaker had so much success at middleweight and especially against wrestlers. Now, I don't think anyone he fought had the chain wrestling of the level of Kamaru Usman. Obviously, Romero, very strong guy, powerful, very athletic, but not really a chain wrestler. Barely uses his wrestling, very quick with the takedowns that he couldn't get down Robert Whittaker. So it generally would be a very interesting stylistic matchup here. Like, really, when you think about it, like how does this actually go? Who would actually win this? Like, it'd be a fun fight. Like, I think it would be a striking fight too. I think this would stay on the feet. So it'd be it would be jab versus jab. They both have pretty good jabs, but I think it's tough, man, because like obviously Robert Whittaker was favored against Dricus du Plessis and lost, but Dricus du Plessis is a monster, so there's no shame in that loss. Obviously, Kamaru Usman lost to Leon Edwards, lost to Hamzat Chimaev. So really, this fight would be really competitive in my opinion. Very close fight. But I think I'm going to lean, and it's not just because of his nationality, but I'm going to lean towards Robert Whittaker. I think he would get this fight done against Kamaru Usman. I think, he'd be bigger than Kamaru. He's still younger than Kamaru as well. I think I know people shit on Whittaker for his chin, but I think he might have the better chin than Kamaru Usman. We've seen Kamaru Usman get wobbled by Colby Covington. He got he got like sort of rocked against Hamza, but Hamza wasn't really throwing any strikes. If we're being honest, like apparently his arm or wrist was broken, so that might be a big factor of why. But still, very close fight. But I think honestly, I think Whittaker could win this fight. I think he can stuff the takedowns. He's got really good cardio. He's used to middleweight. He's got the better striking than Usman. Usman could tag him though. Like that is a possibility. Both these guys' chins aren't the greatest. They're not fucking James Vick out there, but they're no Max Holloway either. Is what I'm getting at. I could see Whittaker getting his first finish in a while in this fight. I could see him landing the jab head kick combo that he likes to throw in every fight. Seems like something that could actually catch Kamaru Usman. But yeah, I actually think this is like a perfect matchup to make next. Everybody wins in this fight, in my opinion. Like, we get a fresh matchup. We don't do Usman versus like Gilbert Burns 2 or some random rematch that doesn't make sense. Usman at welterweight, he's fought almost everybody. This is like a legends fight, in my opinion. Two gritty vets, former UFC champions. It's a big fight. Because then what else is there for Usman? Bilal Muhammad's not going to fight him. The UFC aren't going to do JDM versus Usman. I doubt that fight would happen. Jeff Neal said that his last option he would want is Kamaru Usman because he trains with his brother. So he said he would fight Usman if he had to, but he'd prefer not to. So that's another fight that probably won't happen. It's like there's not really many options for him at welterweight unless he wants to fight one of these young up and comers, which could happen. Maybe we get Ian Gary versus Kamaru Usman or someone down the line, but more than likely, I think it's going to be Kamaru Usman versus Robert Whittaker, especially because he already suggested that he wants to stay at middleweight. He wanted Dricus du Plessis. I think Dricus is probably going to get Jared Cannonier or Roman Dolidze, whoever wins that fight. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they do the Kamaru Usman fight, but I think this fight makes sense. And like I say, stylistically, really good fight. 5 rounds. It would tell us a lot about Kamaru Usman at middleweight. He'd actually have full time to prepare for this one. He did really fucking good against Hamza Chimaev, and that was on short notice. Hamza Chimaev seems like one of those guys where you sort of need a full camp for him, and Kamaru Usman arguably won 2 rounds in that fight. I don't think there is an argument for him winning, though, because obviously the first round was a clear-cut 10-8, and the other 2 rounds were pretty, close, so not really much happened, so it could have gone either way, but at best, Usman got a draw, and that was on fucking 11 days' notice against a really tough stylistic matchup. It was Hamza Chimaev is a fucking tough out for anybody, and on short notice, they'll go in there and have a competitive fight. It's just like it tells you a lot. And that was middleweight Hamza that he was fighting too. He wasn't fighting welterweight depleted fucking Hamza Chimaev. He was fighting the big fucking 185-pound, great weight cut, in shape Hamza Chimaev. So really good for Usman there. That was a Hamza Chimaev bulked up. Imagine if Usman bulked up himself to middleweight, like he was actually properly built. Probably would have won that fight, if we're being honest. And I am a Hamza Chimaev fan. I fucking love Hamza Chimaev. And even I got to admit that, with better circumstances for Kamaru Usman, he might have fucking got that fight. You never know. Maybe you could also say the same thing for Hamza Chimaev. Maybe if Hamza Chimaev had more time to prepare, he would have been more, fit to prepare for somebody like Usman than Paulo Costa. But if we look at Hamza Chimaev, he doesn't really ever have a fucking game plan. If we're being honest, his game plan is come out, smash, smash. First round smash. That's always his game plan. His game plan is to always come out, shoot a fucking aggressive takedown, get his opponent down, ground and pound the shit out of them, try and sub them or beat the shit out of them on the ground. That is always his game plan, if we're being honest. He did it to Kevin Holland on short notice. The only time that wasn't his game plan was when Gilbert Burns started throwing subs off his back because, he didn't like the submission threat from Gilbert Burns. So he showed some fight IQ there, but then went fucking full fucking dumbass on the feet, swinging big overhands instead of jabbing like he was doing, where he was doing really good on the feet. But yeah, man, I think Usman fucking did really good against Hamza. I like him at middleweight. Less of a weight cut. He's more skilled than a lot of the middleweights. Like I say, middleweight's not the most skilled division. Welterweights are inherently better than middleweights, so he's going to have a skill advantage. Now, maybe they'll be a bit tougher against these like bigger middleweights, but yeah, I think he's got a clear skill advantage over a lot of these guys, and I think there would just be a lot of good stylistic matchups for him. And overall, there'd just be a lot more fun fights in middleweight for him. Imagine like Kamaru Usman versus like Marvin Vettori. That'd be a really interesting fight. It'd be the granite jaw of Marvin Vettori versus the fucking elite cardio of Kamaru Usman. Like, there'd actually be some really fun fights I'd love to see for Kamaru Usman in the middleweight division. But yeah, this fight with Robert Whittaker, I think that makes sense to make next. You know, Robert Whittaker coming off a loss, he wants to fight as soon as possible. Kamaru Usman didn't even take much damage against Khamzat Chimaev, if we're being honest. Like, generally, didn't even take much damage. It's probably one of the first, that's one of the first times you can say that about a Khamzat Chimaev opponent. Maybe, I guess Kevin Ong until he got started, but like, generally didn't really take much damage. It was just pitter-patter shots on the ground. Obviously, some of the ground and pound was pretty fucking deadly, but yeah, man, I think this makes sense. You could do this in like 2 3 months time. You know, Usman doesn't have to be out for long. He's gonna probably want to get back in there. Maybe he'll bulk up a little bit to middleweight before this fight happens. But you know, Whittaker got KO'd in July, so he'll be looking to get back in there very soon. And yeah, I think this fight just perfectly matches up well, and I think it would be a banger. You know, maybe you could do I don't know, Kamaru Usman versus Paulo Costa. I doubt that's gonna happen, but that would be fucking crazy to see the size difference there. But like, there's plenty of fights you could do for Kamaru Usman. I just really like him at middleweight. I think it's definitely the division for him, but especially, you know, he's got that whole pact with Israel Adesanya about them not fighting for a title. Now that Izzy's not champion, maybe he could make a run. Maybe he could make a run to the belt. Maybe he could eventually get that Sean Strickland fight. Maybe he gets a rematch with Khamzat Chimaev. Maybe he does get Dricus as a champion. Who knows? And really, I thought maybe Kamaru Usman was really washed, and maybe he still is. Maybe Khamzat's not as good as we thought, but I do still think Khamzat's good. But he generally did look very good. So I feel like a fight with Robert Whittaker would really tell you where he's at. You know, both former champions who are on the best streaks of their careers. Obviously, Rob only lost to Dricus. Dricus might end up being like a fucking champion for all we know. Like, I think Dricus is really good. Uh, but yeah, like I said, I'd go Robert Whittaker in this fight. I know I rambled on a little bit here, but I think I would go Robert Whittaker. But it would tell us a lot. It would also tell us if Robert Whittaker's, you know, takedown defense is as solid as we think. Because like I said, we did see Dricus getting down, but other than that, every single person he's fought, they've taken him down. If they have taken him down, you know, he bumps right back up. You know, he literally gets back up, fucking tools off on people. It's like, I still think it's one of the best parts of his game. Like, maybe Dricus is just that different level. You know, like I say, Dricus is built like a fucking light heavyweight. He is massive. I don't know how he ever made welterweight. Like, I don't. Like, the guy's fucking huge. He's fucking built like a brick shithouse too. Like, the guy is fucking massive, man. But like I say, I really like Kamaru Usman at this weight class. Even knowing there is a lot of guys bigger than him, he's still always going to have a cardio advantage over these guys. But yeah, it would teach us a lot about the middleweight grappling difference between welterweights and middleweights. Because maybe fucking Kamaru Usman's going to look like Habib in the middleweight division with his takedowns. Maybe he's going to be able to take these guys down with ease and just like do whatever he wants. Because it seems like all the middleweight fighters do have great takedown defense, but then also what fucking like grapplers really are there? There's Jack Manson. That's like it. Like, that's all there is. All there is Jack Manson. So I feel like anyway, like either way you look at it, this would teach us a lot about the middleweight division and Kamaru Usman's future. Uh, I know I rambled on a little bit here, but yeah, I just thought this was an interesting point because I do think the welterweights are much better than middleweights. So like, maybe Kamaru can actually make a fucking impact in this division. And yeah, maybe moving up, even though he lost to Hamza, maybe this would be the best thing for his career to get like a resurgence. Because, I think Robert Whittaker would beat him, but it's not like an unwinnable fight for Kamaru Usman. It'd be a competitive fight. Both really good fighters. We haven't really seen Robert versus a chain wrestler, although we don't really see chain wrestling from Kamaru Usman anymore. Like, I think his knees are that done that he's like more primarily a boxer who can defend takedowns. But we'll see what happens, man. It'll be interesting to see what happens next for these two. But I'm just glad both guys are still fighting, and there's a potential chance to get this fight. 'Cause if anyone was on fucking MMA Twitter in like 2021, 2020, literally every fucking debate was about Robert Whittaker versus Kamaru Usman. Ooh, how would Robert Whittaker versus Kamaru Usman go? Ooh, I think Rob gets knocked out with a jab, or it would be shit. I don't think Usman would take him down. He'd get KO'd with a jab head kick. There's like always a big debate about this fight, so I think the UFC should just like shut up that fucking debate because it still happens to a smaller scale. Obviously, neither are not where they were when this debate was first happening. Although I'm talking about Robert Whittaker like he's finished, like he's still a good fighter, and he only lost to Drickers. So, but yeah, still, I feel like better late than never to get this debate fucking solved. So yeah, Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian Nightmare versus the Reaper, Robert Whittaker. The fucking Reaper, the motherfucking Reaper, Molly whop this fool. You get fucking, I don't even know what Molly Wop says. You know that guy? Fucking, I forgot. I can't even remember what his name is. I don't even know what he says. I just know how to do his voice. But anyway, I've raved on way too long in this video. I apologize, but yeah, I want to see this fight. I think this fight would be this fight to make. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you made it past the fucking incoherent rants, I really do appreciate it. But yeah, that's all I've got to say. Make Kamaru Usman versus Robert Whittaker next. Makes all the sense in the world. Kamaru Usman's going to stay at the middleweight division. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.